What's up, everyone? John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo here, back with another Tablet Wars Smackdown. This time we've got Apple's iPad 2 and the Asus built Eee Pad Transformer. Sound effects and fire and all that business is going to be popping up. We are going to put these two head to head in a 6-round test. If you read or saw my review on the Eee Pad Transformer, you'll know that I thought it was hands down the best Android tablet on the market. And if you saw my review on the iPad 2, you'll know that it is my tablet of choice. So I was really looking forward to putting these two guys head to head and see which one has a permanent place in my bag or on my couch or sometimes in the car or anywhere else that I or you might use a tablet. Let's go ahead and get started. So there are obviously a ton of different categories that we can cover, but I picked the 6 that were most important to me. We're going to cover screen, speed, browser, apps, OS, and some intangibles. Now, if this had been a 40-minute video, I would have covered things like camera and keyboard, but those are things, unfortunately, you're going to have to experience for yourself, although I will touch on them a little bit throughout the comparison. Alright, so let's start with screens. This is what you're going to be looking at when you are using your tablet. The iPad 2 has a 9.7-inch diagonal screen with a resolution of 1024 by 768, and it is an IPS display which can show 132 ppi or pixels per inch. It's a beautiful display. If you've ever seen it, graphics look beautiful on it. Images are very pretty and stunning. The screen itself is really gorgeous. You're going to have some problem in direct sunlight, as is the problem with most tablets. You're going to get a bit of that tablet glare. You can already sort of see it right there. I've got some sunlight coming in. But such is life with IPS displays. Next, let's take a look at the Asus Eee Pad Transformer. Now, usually when I compare screens to Apple devices, it is always a blowout. The screens and the resolution on the Apple devices are generally higher than what the competition has to offer. Not true with the Eee Pad Transformer. This guy has a 10.1 inch, so that's going to be widescreen IPS display with a resolution of 1280 by 800, so a higher resolution and a viewing angle of 178 degrees. You're going to have that same problem in direct sunlight, unfortunately, but the screen here is absolutely beautiful. It looks wonderful. Pictures pop, images are bright, text is extremely crisp, and the screen is just outstanding. One of the things that I really do like about the Eee Pad Transformer is the fact that since it is a 10.1 inch screen, so it's technically widescreen, it changes the aspect ratio, meaning the big black bars that you get when you're viewing videos on the iPad 2, you're not going to get while viewing them on the Eee Pad Transformer. At least not generally. So that was something that I really enjoyed. The screen is perfect in landscape mode for watching video or in portrait for reading text. So if this is something that was interesting to you and the screen is important, the screen on the Transformer is absolutely wonderful and was an absolute pleasure to use. And this round clearly has to go to the Transformer. Alright, so next up is raw speed, and both these guys are packing similar horsepower. Apple's a 5-chip, it's dual core, 1 gigahertz on each core, or just about seems to be clocked at. The Transformer is using NVIDIA's Tegra 2 with 1 gigahertz on each core. It's got a gig of RAM. Really represents probably the pinnacle, at least for right now, of what tablets can offer from a hardware perspective. And you'll be happy to know that both of these tablets are absolute screamers. So I read the comments on almost all of my videos. When I do speed tests, oftentimes people are telling me that I've got applications running in the background. When I clear applications, then I'm told that perhaps applications that were cleared should still be running. So this is just going to be a general usage test of how fast both of these are. While leaving things open, I've got a live wallpaper here in the background, which I really kind of like, as you guys might have when you're using the tablet. Both of these things really are absolute screamers. Let's go ahead and look at the browser, for example. So I've got Techno Buffalo opened on each, and I will say that Flash has been turned off for right now on the Eee Pad Transformer, so plugins have been disabled. So look at the browser speed, it is very quick while scrolling. No problem, I'm not getting any sort of checkerboard pattern which you get on some other devices, and it pulls up the content right away. Same thing here on the iPad, no issues. Pinch to zoom, very fast. pinch to zoom here, which is really one of those things where I think Android has been a little bit laggy. Not a problem at all. Really works just as fast as anywhere else. Go ahead and can imagine people saying, push 7, look what he's doing. But definitely works just as quickly. Application launch also just as fast. If I were to go ahead and launch 2 applications, and again, there are things running in the background. This is just general processes. Like if you were sitting on your couch launching an application, you're not going to close everything before you open something. Things here are both very quick. So we'll go ahead and try and launch Angry Birds Rio, or at least close to at the same time. Both of them kicked up pretty fast. They were both running suspended in the background. You can see boot up time was very fast. Let's go ahead and launch 2 different applications just for sort of speed and giggles. I'll go ahead and launch, let's say, Google Earth here. You can get a sense of the speed. And Google Earth is a very processor intensive application. Very process intensive. And you can see how quickly something like this works on the Transformer. I mean, very, very, very quick. Go ahead and close that. And even if you look at something like, say, iMovie, another graphically intensive application on the iPad, it loads just as quickly as well. And in all honesty, in everyday usage, I know a lot of people that are in the Android camp or the Apple camp want to see their side be faster, and they want the metrics that are going to show that to prove it. But in all actuality, in everyday usage, just as people use the tablets, both of these are very fast, very, very, very quick. It's hard to believe, even, you guys have heard me probably talk about this in my review, that the Transformer shares the same components pretty much as the Motorola Zoom. The Zoom I found slow and laggy even after software updates, whereas the Transformer is very quick and really enjoyable to use, all augmented by that beautiful screen. So you can see, even if I like grabbing the camera, you can see it tracks my finger very quickly as I go ahead and move around. And all this is with live wallpapers running in the background. So both are very, very fast, and I am extremely happy to say that this round is going to be a tie. So whether or not you want an iPad 2 or whether or not you're looking for an Eee Pad Transformer, both of your options are going to be very, very speedy. So we just touched on it a little bit, but our next category is going to be the browser. I use a web browser more than anything on tablets. Just a bigger browsing experience for me is necessary. And this is one of the ways that I really like using both of these. So let's start with the Transformer first. I've got Flash content turned off. That means I've got the option to turn Flash content back on. With Flash content turned off, everything is about as quick as you would expect from any other device out there. Works very nicely. Content loads extremely quickly. I'll go ahead and refresh Techno Buffalo. You can see what that looks like. It's just a nice, pleasant experience. So if I wanted to go ahead and turn Flash content back on, let me show you what the difference is. So we'll go ahead and go back into settings. We'll go ahead and go to advanced. I'm doing all this on camera so you can see it. We'll go ahead and enable plugins. We'll put those always on. That also enables a few other things. We'll go back and I'm going to refresh the page. So I like the option of having the choice to have Flash content shown or not. It's certainly no secret, a lot of the web is coded now in HTML5, which is going to be fully compatible with the iPad and most other web browsers. But I like the choice of if I want to see Flash content. If I want to watch a video on YouTube that isn't in the YouTube player, hasn't been converted, I like having that choice. My wife and I love to watch Animal Planet videos, and a lot of their stuff, for example, isn't converted over yet. So I can go right to the Animal Planet site and I can watch the videos right from here. Now you do get a little bit of speed decrease when you have Flash content on. You can see that there. But it's not bad and it does work, and the pinch to zooming is still there. So generally I leave Flash off unless I need it. Having Flash on definitely hurts the battery. So what's the point about talking about Flash? I guess you guys can guess. This is all about consumer choice. So if you choose to turn Flash off, you're going to have almost exactly the same browsing experience on both. If you choose to have Flash on, you're going to have a choice on the Transformer. I'll go ahead and show you something what Flash looks like. So we got some Flash content loading here. We'll go to YouTube. You can see what that looks like. So it'll probably pull up the mobile version, but at least you can get a chance to check out, what a Flash video would look like. So let's go ahead and launch one. Go ahead and hit play. You can see what something would look like. So now it's loading the video. This is actually not even launching in Flash. So here's this guy. I don't know who he is. We'll go to my YouTube channel. You can see what that looks like. So we'll back out of here. back. There we go. Now let's check out youtube.com/John4Lakers. There we go. Came up right below Jon Stewart, which is kind of neat. So this is going to take me to the mobile version. We'll go ahead and show the desktop version, which is kind of nice. And then this will show you what Flash content is going to look like at long last. Despite my ramblings, you'll be able to see it here now on video. It's not the most pleasant experience. It's going to drain your battery. It can be a little bit choppy, but the video is definitely viewable. So we're going to go ahead and play. You can see you get an option. I'm on a relatively fast Wi-Fi connection. And now you're playing. Here's my unboxing of the Xperia Play. And it is playing. You can see my finger. You could definitely watch a video. You could export it to your TV with the HDMI out if you have the cable. It just works. And I like having the choice whether or not I want to have Flash on or off. And that factor was a very long explanation. But that's why this round is going to go to the Eee Pad Transformer. Alright, so next let's talk about applications. Apps are often the things that make the device have additional functionality. Apps are what I use quite a bit outside of the browser, and something that I really am happy to have very vibrant app ecosystems on Android or on iOS. Certainly Apple's App Store is tremendous. There's probably no point rehashing it. There are thousands of applications available, not only for the tablet, but also for the iPhone, which can be scaled up to double the resolution and viewed, or at least blown up rather, and played on the iPad or used on the iPad too. The Android market has been around for quite a bit, but the tablet side of Android market has not been around for that much longer, or that long. So there are tablet apps, but there aren't that many. And there aren't that many applications in addition to tablets that are meant to take advantage of the processing power of the Tegra 2. So there just aren't that many applications. Now certainly this is something that's going to be rectified as developers continue to develop applications, they get their hands on the SDK a little bit longer, and they bring some of those things that maybe we loved from an Android device or from an iOS device, get ported and recoded over for tablets. But at least for right now, there are not that many applications here, unfortunately, and that's one of the big downsides of Honeycomb. It's a great operating system, but you're not going to get the app support that you'd get with Android. So you can run older Android applications, but they scale a little bit funny and the menu systems don't always work. So the Twitter application, for example, can look a little bit weird. You have another app store. You've got NVIDIA's Tegra Zone here, which is going to download applications or give you the choice to download applications that are meant to be optimized for the Tegra 2 processor. And you're going to see some gorgeous applications with really immersive 3D-esque graphics that are running at incredible clock speeds and frame rates that just look really good. So that's going to be another choice that you're going to have, the NVIDIA Tegra Zone. However, just due to glut of applications, and this will change, I'm sure, as Honeycomb matures as a tablet OS, but for right now, Apple definitely has the edge with their App Store when it comes to applications. So this round is going to swing right on back to Apple. Now it's time for the round that the fanboys love. We're going to talk about the operating system. So I'm going to give you guys full disclosure. I've made no secret that iOS and Apple devices are generally what I choose to carry with me. The iPad 2 is my tablet of choice, and generally I find myself using an Apple iPhone. I have been extremely encouraged with Android. I like that there's user customization. I like that you can make it your own. You can tweak it if you want to. You don't have to necessarily. But there are all kinds of things you can do with Android that you can't do with iOS. iOS is very easy to learn. It's elegant to use. It's very simple. You could give it to a 30-year-old to know how to use it. You give it to a 5-year-old or an 80-year-old, and chances are they'd be able to figure it out. I really don't like the notification system. I've sort of ranted on this quite a bit. It's obtrusive. It pops up with what you're doing. I think that Apple could do a much better job. I would like to have the consumer choice to customize my operating system. And with a stock, obviously non-jailbroken iOS, you don't have that option. I can change the background, sure, I can make folders if I want to, but I'm really limited with what I can do. Android, on the other hand, gives me the flexibility to do all those different things that I like. I've got live wallpaper choices, and this is one from Asus that I don't know why, for whatever reason, I really like. If I don't like the way things are looking here at the icons, I can change it. If you're using an Android phone, you can change the launcher. Very easily, without any hacking, you can just download stuff from the marketplace, install them, and suddenly things are looking very different. Honeycomb in particular has an awesome notification system. It pops up in sort of a growl-esque style right in the bottom right. You can exit them out, and they are extremely unobtrusive. Again, you can customize whatever you want. Of course, you've got the widget choices. So here I've got some of the Asus widgets that are being shown, which I believe is called the Wakeshare UI, which is just some nice tweaks. I really like having them. You can have those sort of widget option choices in the background. This one, though, is all about consumer choice. Oftentimes, people prefer the ease and elegance of the Apple iPad, and some people just want a tablet that's going to browse the web and do what they need it to do. Some people are going to like to be able to change their experience and customize it for them. And that's where Honeycomb is going to offer a really nice experience. Honeycomb definitely has a bit of a higher learning curve. If you've never used Android in the past, or you've not familiar with it as you might be for other operating systems, there definitely is going to be a little bit learning curve, but give it a day or two, you won't have any problems. The OS round is most definitely a tie, bringing very unique things for very different people. Alright, so now let's talk about intangibles, because each of these guys bring some very different things to the table. Let's go ahead and start with the iPad. First, it comes in 3G versions. Now, Asus has said 3G versions of the Transformer will be available, but at least for right now, all you can get is a Wi-Fi version. You can get smart covers, which are sort of a fun option to have. There are a ton of accessories available for the iPad 2. You can get full Apple Store support if you're near an Apple Store. If something happens to your device, you can just go walk it in and say, fix it. And they will fix it or give you a new one if you're still in warranty. There are a ton of Bluetooth keyboard choices that you can get. The price point ranges from $499 all the way up to $830. You can connect now to HDMI within a separate cable, and you have sort of a lot of choices. You can also customize a color between black and white. And if you decide to go 3G versions, you have your choice of carriers, either AT&T or Verizon. From an intangible standpoint, there's also a lot to like about the Transformer. First is this dock that gives it the Transformer name. It's a keyboard dock, and I didn't mention this in the review. It's a $149 accessory, so it does add a bit of a price premium to it. You are going to get 2 USB ports, one on each side, which is going to be expandable. You can go ahead and plug in a USB thumb drive and get access to those files. You're going to have a full-size SD card slot. You can almost double your battery life up to 16 hours. There's the other USB port that we talked about. It's a little bit bulky, and it weighs quite a bit. And I didn't mention this as part of the review because it's a separate cost, and there are Bluetooth keyboard options for the iPad. This is going to give you track support, however, when you use the mouse, so you are going to get a cursor on the screen and a decent size keyboard. So that is one of the intangibles and things that you can get with the Asus Eee Pad Transformer. If you want to see this in action, be sure to check out my Transformer review. So one of the intangibles that the Transformer definitely has is price. It is going to come in at $399 for the 16 gig model. But you're also going to have micro SD card expansion, which is quite nice. You go ahead and plug in a card, and suddenly you can up that 16 gigabyte storage. The keyboard dock we talked about certainly is really nice. You're going to get mouse support as well, so you will get that cursor as I mentioned. You get the openness of Android, which is a really nice intangible for a lot of people. You can see me rotating things around. If you want to tweak and customize, you're going to have that capability to do so. Cameras as well is certainly something that's another intangible. The 5 megapixel camera on the back and the 1.2 shooter on the front, conveniently located where your fingers are not going to touch them. You're also going to have Asus's My Cloud support if you want to store files up in the cloud. This one as well, it's going to be whether or not you're counting 6 or a half dozen. Both offer a lot of intangibles and are really nice solid devices. Of course, the Transformer also has HDMI out with a separate cable, and it really is going to come down to personal preference. This round, once again, is a tie. So we covered a lot of tablet action. Let me recap it for you. Screen went to the Transformer for its larger size, higher resolution, and just all around pretty viewing angle. Speed, both were very quick, and that was a tie. Browser went to the Transformer for its ability to play Flash whether you want it or not, and when it's turned off you get the same browser experience as the iPad. Apps went to the iPad 2 for the App Store. The operating system was most definitely a tie, and the intangibles were most definitely a tie. This is the tablet that I think Android folks have been waiting for and deserving. In the past, whenever anybody asked me what tablet they should buy, my answer was always the iPad 2. Now, I knew they wouldn't be able to customize it or tweak it, but I knew they'd get an experience that was quick and would work for them. However, now I cannot say pick up the iPad 2. I think that I owe it to everyone to give an honest opinion, and I gotta say, you need to look at the Eee Pad Transformer if you are looking to get a new tablet. Regardless of whether or not you consider yourself Android or Apple, again, it really doesn't matter. I'm an Apple guy. I use an Apple to edit my videos. Doesn't mean I can't like Android. And I really, really do like what they do here. And what Asus has done in particular with their customizations and tweaks. Just done a really nice job. So the Transformer won this head-to-head battle. They had 2 victories to the iPad's 1, but moral is you can't go wrong with either. They're 2 of the best tablets on the market. I'm John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo, and I'll see you in the next video. So do you agree, disagree, am I way off? I know a lot of you guys like to have your opinions on Apple or Android backed up. At the end of the day, you really do have 2 wonderful choices for devices. And in the world, just about have a choice and finding what's best for you. So am I off? Am I not off? Is it something that you would have liked to see me cover for a next one? I got to sort of keep the categories limited, but I'd love to hear your feedback. I am going to be reading the comments. This video got to be a little bit long, but I thought it deserved it. I'm John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo, and I'm going to see you, finally, or if might see you, well, you guys will see me. I'll talk to you at least in the next video. Bye-bye.